Hey, what's up guys, it's Victor from Cyborg for Life, and today I want to talk about arm lengthening. Now, the channel is primarily about leg lengthening, but if you branch out a bit, arms still fall under the broader term of limb lengthening. Plus, a lot of you have been asking about it, so I thought I'd shoot a video on it. So we're going to go over what it is, how it works, what are some of the potential complications that are going to be associated with arm lengthening, and at the end, I'll give my personal opinion, okay? So what is arm lengthening? Arm lengthening is just like what it sounds like. It's lengthening the upper limbs using the same principles of distraction osteogenesis that's used in the legs. And the bone that's typically lengthened is the humerus, which is in your upper arm. That's the one by your biceps and triceps. But in some deformity cases, you may have to lengthen the forearm, which is like the ulna or the radius. They also may need to be lengthened, okay? And the same lengthening methods are used where the surgeon is going to use a device to slowly distract the bone at a particular rate of millimeters per day. And then when you're done, you just let it heal, rehab like I always preach, and then you should be back to it. Now, why would somebody want to get arm lengthening done? So from what I've read, what I've found, there's only really two reasons why somebody wants to get arm lengthening done. The first is a functional reason, okay? Because a lot of times you have individuals with dwarfism where their arms aren't long enough to perform daily tasks easily, and so they'll opt to get it done so they can move their arms and reach and grab things with their hands a lot easier than they could before the surgery. And then next you have the cosmetic reasons, and there are actually two of them. The first cosmetic reason being for people with an arm length discrepancy, okay? Which could technically still be a functional reason, but for the most part it's appearance, because the reason why it's not functional all the time is because the arms are non-weight bearing limbs, and a discrepancy won't hurt you because we humans are bipedal. We walk on our feet, not our arms, unless you're one of those crazy people that can do the handstand and walk on the arms. But if you're self-conscious and you have an arm length discrepancy, you want to balance it out so you just feel better about yourself out in public and whatnot, then that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the cosmetic reasons why, a cosmetic discrepancy reason, which sounds weird saying that. But the second cosmetic reason is primarily to balance out the limb length proportions to the body. And if you haven't seen it yet, I did a video a while back on proportions. I'll link to it on the screen now. So you can go and check it out. But basically what I mentioned is that when it comes to favorable limb to body proportions, the leg to body ratio will matter more than the arm to body ratio in terms of attractiveness. And if you're planning to get cosmetic stature lengthening to get taller, on the legs, you may think to yourself, well, if I lengthen my legs, then I need to lengthen my arms too to be perfectly balanced, right? Well, we're going to talk about this a little later, okay? Now, regarding the lengthening devices used to do arm lengthening, you're going to have the same ones that you use for the legs. External ring fixators, monolateral fixators, and now you have internal lengthening nails. What's the best one? Well, it actually depends on what you need it for, but unless you have a severe deformity where you might need an external fixator, if you're just doing it for cosmetic or functional reasons, go for the internal nail. It's going to be much easier on you. You're going to be able to move, sleep, and rehab better. You're going to also have less scarring. It's just overall easier for the patient. In fact, this goes for all limb lengthening. In my personal opinion, I think that the internal lengthening nail is better. But anyway, what are some of the potential complications that could occur with arm lengthening? Believe it or not, it's a lot of the same ones with leg lengthening, okay? Things like muscle contractures, non-unions, infection, nerve palsies, things like this. They could all technically be a problem. But based on the literature that I've read, most of these relatively rare complications I guess the most common ones seem to be the muscle contracture and something called a radial nerve palsy, okay? So when it comes to your muscles, your triceps in your arm, okay, is much like your quadriceps in your leg because they both extend the lower limb, which is your forearm and your arm, and then it's your tibia or your leg and your lower body. And then in your arm, the bicep flexes your lower limb, and the hamstring or the leg biceps flexes your lower leg, okay? And to reduce the chance of a muscle contracture happening, you can do this by, guess what? That's right, doing physical therapy. I don't preach rehab for no reason, guys. It's really that important. So, that's how you can kind of avoid the muscle contracture issue. What about this radial nerve thingy? Well, in the upper body, you have something, this web-like union of nerves called the brachial plexus. And they branch off into, these really important nerves that help you move your arms, hands, and fingers. Well, in the upper arm, one of these important nerves is called the radial nerve, and it kind of curves around the backside of your humerus in something called the radial groove of the humerus. And during the osteotomy, of the humerus, the surgeon, if they're not careful, they could technically damage this radial nerve and cause a radial nerve palsy, where you can get something like, kind of like a limp hand or a hand drop. And how do you reduce the chance of this happening? That's right. Find a good and experienced surgeon. See, all of my philosophies of preaching come through right now. So, all right. So now it's time for my personal opinion on arm lengthening. Okay. So I think that arm lengthening is fine if you have a functional issue, and you need to be able to reach things a lot easier and do your daily tasks. I also think if you have a arm length discrepancy between the arms, you want to balance out the cosmetic appearance, then it's fine. Go for it. But if you're just doing it to have perfect proportions and look like the Vitruvian Man after you get leg lengthening done, I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, if your arms are already short in comparison to your legs, and then you get leg lengthening done, and then it's highly noticeable to an untrained eye, then maybe arm lengthening has some merit to it. But if you're just going by the calculations to the 10th decimal place and saying, oh my gosh, if I don't have 0.00013, like perfect ratio, then it's crazy. Perfectly balanced limbs is just not worth it. I know I'll get stones thrown at me for this because people are going to say, but Vic, you're a professional natural bodybuilder and balance, symmetry, and proportion matter to you a whole lot. You're right, they do. For my sport, I have to do that. And actually, I have really long arms in comparison to my legs. I just work with what I have. I go to the gym to balance it all out, okay? All right, guys, I hope you liked that video. That's all I have for you today. I hope you got some good, useful info on arm lengthening and whether or not it's right for you. If you did, hit that like button. Also, I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and hope all your families stay safe and healthy. I should be back with another video next week. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, be sure to subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, this is Victor from Cyborg for Life, signing out.